being ushered in by the Presidential Senior Special Assistant on National Assembly Matters. Alhaji Mohammed was born on the 6th of December 1951 in Kwara State. He attended Government College Kefi between 1964 and 1968, Government Secondary School Okene between 1969 and 1970. He also attended the University of Ife. Alhaji Mohammed is the former Publicity Secretary to the All Progressives Congress and Chief of Staff to Lagos State Governor between 1999 to 2002. He is the immediate past Minister of Information and Culture. A very vibrant public servant, a very dedicated politician. He's now on the podium to receive questions from the senators.
Distinguished colleagues, the nominee on the podium is the former Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed. Alhaji Mohammed represents Kwara State. Alhaji Mohammed, on behalf of all my colleagues here, I want to welcome you to the Senate. And we have copies of your CV before us. You can still highlight anything that you feel needs special attention in the CV, or indeed anything that you might have omitted but is of significance for this exercise. Before you address the Senate, let me recognize the presence of His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, and of course, someone who once served in this Senate, Senator Samuel Jibola, who is also on this delegation, and stalwarts of the ruling party, who are also on this entourage and delegation. The nominee, you can address the Senate. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Senate President, Your Excellency, the Deputy Senate President, principal officers of the Senate, distinguished senators, and in particular, the three senators representing Kwara State, namely Senator Dr. Yahya Odoliegbe, Senator Sadiq Umar, and the senator representing my own senatorial district, Senator Architect Lola Ashiru. Permit me first to thank Almighty Allah that has made me witness today. And I also want to put on record my appreciation to my governor, who is here with me, but more importantly, my gratitude to Mr. President, who has deemed it fit to once again nominate me as a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. My pledge to Mr. President and Nigeria is that if I'm confirmed as a minister, I will redouble my effort in the service of my country to justify its confidence in me. Your Excellency, Mr. Senate President, there's only one small issue I want to draw your attention to in my CV. It's about my name. My name, as it appears on your CV, is my correct name, which is Lai Mohammed. Please don't believe what they say on the social media. They call me all sorts of names there. I used to ignore it until one day when my 7-year-old grandson called me and said, "Grandpa, tell me the truth. Why would they call you Liar Mohammed?" I looked at him. What do you say to a 7-year-old son? How do you explain politics to him? So I said, "No, don't mind them. They are the bad guys." He said, "You mean like Joker, like Bane, and I think another name?" I had no idea what he meant, but I said yes. Later, I found out that those names were actually the names of their cartoon bad guys. So I thank you very much, Mr. President and the distinguished members. I'm ready for your questions. Thank you very much.
Senator, Mr.
President, Assistant and Chair, distinguished colleagues, my name is Ibikunle Amosun. I represent Ogun Central. Mr. President, let me thank you. It gives me great pleasure to be given this opportunity to speak about Egbon Lai Mohammed. The gentleman in front of us needs little or no introduction. He's a lawyer. He's so many things rolled into one. But the one I will want to dwell on this afternoon is the fact that this is somebody that has selflessly served us as a nation. He has served our party. He's a very, very fiercely loyal party man. And you heard him when he was even talking here. He has carried the can severally. Governance is a very difficult job, and it's a thankless job. He's been vilified. You will hear a lot of things about him. But one thing you cannot take away from him is the fact that whatever assignment that is given, you will see him serving diligently, loyally too. So, distinguished colleagues, we have talked among ourselves here. I know my brothers from the northwest, from Kwara, they will feel that, oh, why are we saying this? But we met ourselves and we all agreed that Alhaji Lai Mohammed should be allowed, really. Everybody I know is a lawyer, tested, trusted. In fact, there is no discipline. There is no discipline that you will want to take him on that he will not be able to thoroughly discharge himself. So I don't think we should indeed begin to belabor and be asking questions. So he deserved to be asked to take a bow and go. He has done his bit and he will continue to do his bit. So let me congratulate you for well-deserved renomination. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Senator Aliyu Magatakar Dawamako.
Mr. President, Simon S. Chair, I wish to concur with the last speaker on what affects the nominee before the Senate today. Lai Mohammed can be said by instant as an achiever. As our spokesman for the party, he did excellently well. And as Minister of the government of our federation of this country, last 4 years, did wonderfully well, extremely well. So much of that, I want to appeal to our colleagues to consider the service this gentleman who has, what he has done, officially and privately, and allow him to take a bow and go. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you. Thank you.
Senator Bamidele Opeyemi Michael.
Mr. President, seated as the chair, distinguished colleagues, I am Michael Okweyemi Bamidele, representing Ekiti Central Senatorial District. I want to thank you, Mr. President, for the opportunity to also contribute. And I listened to the first two speakers, my leaders, former governor, chieftains of the ruling party that has also produced me. And of course, what I would like to emphasize, Mr. President, is that the nominee standing before us here today represents two things that Nigerians will be happy to see. One, a litmus test to our distinguished colleagues from the minority parties, because more than anyone, Mr. Chairman, Alhaji Lai Mohammed was on the firing line as a politician, as a party man, as the spokesperson of the party. He managed a very difficult transition process, which for the first time in this country, changed a lot of things. The reason, part of the reason, Mr. Chairman, that you and I, and many of us here, can be seen as gentlemen by our distinguished colleagues from the minority party is because we didn't have cause to call them names. We didn't have cause to say anything to them. We would always, be friendly with ourselves. Because Lai Mohammed had to do the job for everybody. Sir, in the spirit of the new understanding, and what Nigerians have witnessed in the last 1 week on the floor of this parliament, there cannot be a better proof on the part of our distinguished colleagues on the other side than to encourage. Of course, if Alhaji Lai Mohammed said he had suffered some reputation problem in court, it was to be expected. And standing before all of us today, I know is an extreme gentleman, a gentleman of gentlemen. For 4 years, Mr. Chairman, I was privileged to serve with Alhaji Lai Mohammed under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as governor of Lagos State. He was part of the blueprint that was developed for the state. And I tell you, sir, even in the next 20 years, it doesn't matter who is governor of Lagos State, you only need to be civilized and decent. There's a blueprint developed under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu that will make anyone shine as governor. Sir, standing before us here is a brilliant gentleman. He was at the University of Ife, he had a second-class upper. He was at the University of Lagos, he had a second-class upper. He was at the Nigerian Law School, he had a second-class upper. He's a journalist, he's a lawyer, he's a party man, a party administrator. And as a public servant, he has done well. He also had to manage information, two difficult jobs. He managed information for a party that was struggling to take over. And managing information in a period of regime change is something that will not make anyone look good to the other side. And beyond that, you also have to manage information for a government that was coming to fight corruption, to do a lot of things. No, it wasn't an enviable assignment. But here he is, standing. I just want to say, sir, that President Buhari saw the need to compensate this gentleman by ensuring that based on his academic qualification and his pedigree, he's offered a platform to serve in public service. And this distinguished Senate, 4 years ago, confirmed him. I am joining the first two speakers and providing a basis beyond being a gentleman to say this distinguished Senate found Alhaji Lai Mohammed fit and proper to serve in the cabinet of the government of this country 4 years ago. And today, even in the spirit of the new understanding, in the spirit of the bipartisan interaction that is in overriding public interest and in the best interest, of our nation, that I know at the end of the day we'll be proud and in another 4 years we'll have something to show for what is happening here and for this new understanding. I just want to say that I join the first two speakers and let Alhaji Lai Mohammed take a bow and go. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Mohammed Musa.
Mr. President, sitting as chair, my distinguished colleagues, I stand to eulogize Alhaji Lai Mohammed for being a true Nigerian. I came across Lai Mohammed when he was nobody, and I was struggling, and he stood by me. Personally, I want to use this opportunity to let my other colleagues know how compassionate this gentleman is when it comes to reasoning. Because I was detained, and while I was detained, nobody knew where I was. And my younger brother got to him, and he said, no way. He started pursuing this thing up to the extent of getting to the Undersecretary of African Affairs in the United States. And they intervened just because of this gentleman, and I was released. So I will want to use this opportunity to thank you, and thank you more for the job you have done to this country. There is no better information manager that will have managed the transition in 2015 than you, and you have done it very well. I wish to call on my colleagues to give this gentleman the honor he deserved by towing the line of my other colleagues that have spoken earlier, to tell this gentleman to take a bow and go. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senators Ibrahim Oloragbe, Sadiq Suleiman Umar, and Lola Ashur, in that order.
Mr. President, sitting as the chair of the Committee of the Whole, highly respected distinguished colleagues, my name is Ibrahim Yahya Oloriegbe. I represent the people of Kwara State. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, let me start by appreciating every member of these chambers, particularly those who have spoken about our leader, who is a nominee here, and to appreciate and thank Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for finding it worthy to nominate the nominee, and particularly to thank him also for recognizing our special need in Kwara by providing us and giving us 2 ministerial nominees, and for us, for you, our colleagues, for supporting us on the 2 nominees. I wouldn't want to waste our time, and wouldn't want to speak on most of the public knowledge about the nominee Alhaji Rauf Olaiwola Mohammed. But to underscore what some of us here may not know about him again, we as Kwarans, it's a public knowledge in Nigeria that when the history of democracy will be written in Nigeria, particularly the 2019 election, Kwara is a special case. Kwara was a state in Nigeria that everybody looked up to, and Kwara came up to define the true meaning of democracy as the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Because the people took their destiny into their hands to liberate themselves. And they came with a mantra, which everybody knows in Nigeria as Otoge, And that mantra, as well as the movement, came about when the whole government, from local government to the federal level, the elected people, with the exception of 4 councillors out of 183, 1 House of Assembly member, moved to another party. The gentleman before us remained the highest political office holder in Kwara State. Hence, he became the leader of the party. He demonstrated certain qualities that are unusual and uncommon. One, he had the opportunity to say he wants to be anything as far as elected office is concerned. But he took leadership to say what is most important is Kwara. He said, I'm not going to contest for anything. We'll create opportunity and level playing ground. What we need is to lead the people to be able to achieve their aims. So he was selfless, he was humane, and he demonstrated humility. And that's why we're able to produce a complete winning of all positions in Kwara for the party. Kwara, as I speak today, despite what we lost in 2015, we have all the councillors, we have all House of Assembly members, and all National Assembly members, due to the leadership provided by Alhaji Lai Mohammed. He was selfless, he was humane, and was simple. So therefore, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I join and thank my other previous colleagues, and thank you sincerely for the honor you have done us and you have done Kwara. And he has demonstrated here. You can see our governor is here. We have almost all members of House of Rep, and we have several leaders of Kwara. We are one in Kwara and we are united. And through your support in confirming him and the other nominee, we continue to assure Nigerians that Kwara will demonstrate to Nigeria the true meaning of democracy. Mr. President, thank you very much for honoring us to accept that Alhaji Lai Mohammed takes a bow and go. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Sadiq Suleiman Umar.
Mr. President, sitting as chair of the Committee of the Whole, my most distinguished colleagues, I am Sadiq Suleiman Umar. I represent the decent people of Kwara North. Mr. Nominee, congratulations for Mr. President to have found you worthy to come and work with him again. Let me say something that is very important that most people don't take note of. Running up to 2019 election, when the body politic temperature was rising, Alhaji Lai Mohammed responded with higher sense of restraint and maturity. His responses were measured instead of proportional, which is typical of powerful persons. And he was powerful. He was in a powerful position, but he exercised restraint, which dropped the temperature of the body politic at that time. Thank you very much for that service to our nation. Mr. President, I stand proudly here today to present our product, who is a full package. Yes, it's a complete package, full option. Somebody said earlier, he's a brilliant lawyer, a brilliant linguist, and a brilliant PR professional. And it's evident, all universities said it. His minimum standard is second class upper. That is not more. And it's important, this picture comes out clearly, so that the younger generation should know that excellence is celebrated in Nigeria. Having said this, Mr. President, in fact, I'm tempted to say that every senator seated here should ask our nominee at least three questions, because he will answer any question. In fact, even impossible questions, he will answer it. However, because of the fundamental fact that if there is any Nigerian that has been interviewed, interrogated, questioned the most, it is Alhaji Lai Mohammed. So what are we going to ask him again? Mr. President, I ask the Senate to ask him to take a bow and go. Thank you.
Senator Lola Ashru.
Mr. President, we thank Almighty God for bringing us close to the end of this training. And we are lucky at the end of it to have somebody like Alhaji Lai Mohammed as the last person. In the Bible, it said, the last in the kingdom of God will be the first. And in the Quran too, we all know the meaning of the last prophet, the seal of all prophethood. I'm happy today that we are having our man, a man of meritorious service, who has served Nigeria in all capacity, who has served our great party, APC, as the spokesperson. We are lucky to have him today as the nominee of Mr. President. And I am very, very confident, just like he did in the first time, he will do better now. I know Alhaji Lai Mohammed very well. We share the same senatorial district. In fact, his town is a stone thrown for my town. Uro is regarded as a citadel in Kwara State. It's like Rome. And Alhaji Lai Mohammed is like a Roman. And we all know the wisdom of Rome of those days. He has all the wisdom you will expect. And I'm very confident he will do us proud. Mr. President, I will join my colleague and all the senators here to ask him to take a bow. Thank you very much.
People say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Take a bow.
And that is the last screening of the ministerial nominees, and the last person that was just screened by the Senate is Alhaji Lai Mohammed, the immediate past Minister of Information and Culture and National Orientation. Well, the screening of this immediate past Minister of Information turned into a somewhat commendation session. Well, people of Kwara State have exhibited their full support for their illustrious son. You can see the governor of Kwara State behind him was in the chamber to say things for himself, plus other dignitaries from Kwara State. Well, he has assured Senate and Nigerians that this reappointment, that he will redouble his efforts in the service to the nation. Some senators who spoke to as well, some of them described him as a selfless Nigerian, that his service as a Minister of Information in the last 4 years was quite exceptional. They called him the manager of information. They also described him as humane. Some described him as an intelligent and patriotic Nigerian who is very selfless in all his dealings, especially in his national positions. Now, this brings to an end the screening session